Welcome, Amber.
How's it going?
Ah, such a good day. Oh my gosh, so good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Wow. We have some people we're going to be letting in. Daniela's here, Kara's here. It's so beautiful. I'm so excited. I just want to jump in if we don't mind. Let's just get started. I have been waiting for this hour to arrive since we talked about having this interview with you. And I just want to introduce you to my audience and tell about the great things that you have been up to in the last, oh my gosh, 6 months, a year, 3 years since we've known each other.
It's probably been the last 6 months.
Last 6 months. Okay. Yeah. So it's been, I remember talking to you about how your purpose was to help people tell their stories through photography. So it's been brewing inside. So I want to give you the formal introduction for those of the people that are here that do not know you. So Amber Larkins, everyone, oh my gosh, just such a beautiful soul. She is a photographer, a visual artist, and so much more. And she has been helping people tell their story through photography. She started over 10 years ago helping athletes in photography and seeing their journey, that the struggle and the triumph that they had in becoming the best athlete possible with all of the other things that were going on in their lives. Amber saw that and she found a way to capture that in photography and just built her career around showing the essence of the human soul. And so through this journey, I came to know Amber 3 years ago in the middle of COVID. Everything was revamping in the world, and she was still doing that. She was still showing a way to tell the story for those who couldn't tell the story. And she basically, and she's an entrepreneur of great magnitude. And so she saw entrepreneurs as well struggling through COVID. And she started to tell that story. And I remember when I first had a session with her for branding, and it was just so beautiful because I had never felt more comfortable in front of the camera. And she just has such a way to relate to you and put you at ease. And I couldn't think of anybody better to be doing what she's doing now, which is teaching how to influence through your own story. And so this culmination of the longevity of her career in helping humans come into their essence and really show the beauty of trauma and show the beauty of what it is like to live life, like to really just be living it. And of course, she's able to see this because she has her own story of trauma to triumph. And so I can't wait. Amber, would you like to say anything before I just go on and on about you for a half hour?
You're so sweet. That was a beautiful introduction. I don't know that I could have said it better myself, but no, that pretty much covers everything. I will say that you're right. I've really worked hard on this over the last 6 months after I kind of got a revelation that this is really what I need to be doing. But I will tell you that this is something that's been in my heart for a really long time, which you mentioned. And it started maybe 7, 8 years ago when I was photographing athletes. And, I just didn't feel like it was right that I get to hear these stories and everyone else doesn't, because they're so impactful, so powerful. And I wanted to showcase those. So I prayed about a way that I could showcase these stories. And I started shooting photography to showcase these stories. But it's grown to so much more than that now. And I've recently started a podcast. And through that podcast, I'm learning so much more about different types of trauma, different people's, how they perceive trauma. And it's just been an amazing journey and of learning and growing, and just an innate desire to want to help other people do the same.
Yeah. And I was actually wondering, is there a moment at which you knew that you were going to do this masterclass and you were going to, like, was there a spark of something, a pivotal moment that you knew exactly what to do?
I don't know that there was like a defining moment. There was a defining moment when I started focusing on this project 100%. But how the masterclass was born was from just having conversations with people and realizing, and really a lot of this came from the podcast. And even though I've only released like 4 episodes, I've recorded like 11 now, I think.
Yeah.
And then I've talked to numerous people that's not even been on the podcast. Since I've started the project, I've got messages and people sending me things, and there's a lot of hurt in the world, a lot.
Yeah.
And as I would talk to people and I realized, and I'm kind of interviewing people to see, if they're a good fit for the podcast, I realized people have no idea when it comes to sharing their story. And I think that creates a hesitation for people to want to share, because they're like, oh, it's scary, and I have to say all these things and I have to put other people on the line. And it's just not true. When you're able to craft that story in a way, it's powerful, it's impactful, and you don't have to go into every single detail to make it powerful,
And we talked about that a little bit, because that's some in the work that I do too, with transformational coaching and then consulting. I'm actually getting to the point of, when we touch the soul of the person that we're helping, everything that you do is about your story, because that's your filter in life. And that is how you see everything. That is how you make decisions. And so I'm finding the same thing helping nonprofit leaders, that their story is so important, because it's the way that they birthed their charity or their foundation. And so the same as me, right? And so I didn't even know that there were pieces of my story missing until I started to try to tell it. And I'm like, wait a minute, I have a gap I don't even have a memory of a certain amount of years. And so how do I even begin? I feel like I'm not authentic because I can't remember what happened. And so I was wondering, is there a process that you have to help people begin to tell that story?
Yeah, there is a process that I take people through, and I'll just tell you on a broad spectrum. It really comes from clarifying it, building it, refining it, and then giving it power.
Yeah.
And then obviously sharing it, being able to feature it on some type of platform or some place that you're sharing it. And different stories may be crafted for different platforms or so have you, but that all comes in with crafting it. So I would say, as far as like the process that we go through, and especially with this upcoming masterclass, it's really getting clear on your purpose and what that story means to your purpose, because you said it best. A lot of times that has crafted what you're passionate about. Your experiences is what has made you so passionate about the thing that you're passionate about. And then being able to pick through a story bank, being able to pick through stories and make those impactful, refine them, be able to craft them in a way that there's a point, and they're powerful when you share them, they're influential. And then being able to take the mindset of, some things we associate with pain, but there's something beautiful that really happens when we are able to shift that into, now this is purpose. Yeah. So we find the places in those areas where it's like, okay, now we're going to shift this and shift our mindset around this to give power to that. Being able to stand in your truth, being able to amplify your voice and share it. And, then equally important, because I like to say that I think people have 2 stories. We have the story of the past that we tell ourselves, and then we have the story of the future that we tell ourselves. And so we want to be sure that story is written with intention. But a lot of what happens in the past, what we're passionate about, what we're purposeful, what drives us, it comes from that past story. So it's both of them are very important.
That's beautiful. And so you mentioned one thing that holds people back, and I mentioned something that holds people back. What else holds people back from sharing their story?
Yeah, so in my experience, this is what I found. I think people they want to share for usually one of 3 reasons. One, they want healing. They want to find a release. They want to be able to release that whatever it is that's holding them. 2, they want to create impact. And I would say the majority of people fall into that place of really wanting to create impact and help other people through their experiences, because that gives their experience purpose. And then be influential or raise awareness around this. So like an organization like yourself, that if you have powerful and impactful stories, you want to share those to raise awareness around these things. But I would say overall, people, they fall into one of those three categories, but what would hold them back is guilt or shame, or not having the confidence. That comes from crafting your story and being sure that you're saying the right things, being sure that you're not putting out there a lot of information that's not purposeful or that's vengeful. You want to analyze that and be sure your heart's in the right place before sharing these things. And then I think sometimes people think, I don't want to share because my story is not going to make an impact. Yeah. And that's just simply not true. Your story may not make an impact with every single person, but the people that it does land on, it's going to make an impact. And I had this epiphany moment, like, I think it was last week, where I'm like, and specifically about this project, because there's been a lot of opposition in my own mind about this project in general. And I'm like, would I do this if it impacted one? And I'm like, yeah, I would. And I had this epiphany where it was like, I could impact one and they could go out and impact 10 or impact 1,000. And then indirectly I've impacted. So I think that our sometimes self-limiting thoughts will tell us like, oh, your story is not impactful. It's not going to make a difference. But it's just simply not true. Our story, our voice does make a difference.
It's absolutely true. And I found that through finding my own voice, and I'm still working on it. Like, I feel like this masterclass is definitely for me too. I was registering right before we got on. And then is there anything else that holds people back? Because I could think of a couple things too, thinking of exactly what you said. A lot of times we're not even sure what's holding us back. Like, we just haven't done it. We haven't tried it. Or like you said, thinking that we're not important. Is there anything else?
Yeah, I think, judgment, criticism, judgment. We're scared of what people's going to think of us. And I think sometimes too that, we like to put away things that's happened in our lives, experience that's happened in this nice, neat little box and stuff it away. And I think people get scared of taking that box back out and digging through it. But it's like, we have to be able to do that to see clearly, because there's harbored things inside of there that until we can get free from those things, it's going to hold us back. So I just encourage anybody that even if the thought slightly comes across your mind, to share, get clear on your story and share it, because that will hold you back. And those unresolved feelings, they'll manifest and they'll come out in some way, shape or form, they're going to come out. So I just, I think that that's probably the big reasons why people subconsciously, they have a subconscious fear to hold back.
That is beautiful. And I feel like too, when I started to unreel the story, I did have one memory that came back to me, and I thought that it wasn't true. I thought, there's no way that's true. It's so horrible. Like, there's no way. And I called my mom and I asked her, and the reaction that I got from her let me know that it was true. And that started an action, like a spiral that was wonderful, because it unleashed all those memories that were blocked from that one thing. And so to realize that my truth is okay, and that it's real, and that it could be acknowledged, and that the part that I saw that brought me tremendous healing was that was the frame of a 4-year-old. And it seemed like a horrible thing, but I did make it through it. And so to know that I got to the other side and I'm okay now was a beautiful thing that lifted me up. And over 2 years, I've been able to uncover more of my story, and it is beautiful. So I really appreciate the work that you're doing in leading that trauma to triumph. And, it's triumph in telling that story to the world, but also just for yourself, like being able to tell yourself this story and putting that positive light on it, because we are all light beings. I mean, that's what we're here, and to be connected to each other. And our story is how we connect. Our heart is how we connect. So beautiful. Thank you for doing this work.
There is too, like, through doing the photo shoots, which is separate, from the masterclass, is just sharing how to share your story and how to get clear on those parts and how to dig into that. And, some people, maybe they're not ready for a photo shoot. But I
Mhm.
will say from the clients working through photo shoots, like there is something very powerful about envisioning ourselves as that trauma, like embodying that trauma again. And again, I just preface this, like, this is not for everybody, because sometimes we have to work on some things before we can get into that place.
Mhm.
But there is something very powerful when we can feel that, release it, and then see the result of it. So when I work with my photography clients, it's like showing them, this is the trauma, this is the pain, this is what you were, and you never want to go back, that kind of heart-wrenching pain. But this is the person that was born. It's like a what is the bird, it's in my mind, it's not the raven, I'll think of it after we get off here, but it's like that, the bird that burst into flames.
Oh,
And
the Phoenix.
the phoenix, yes, like,
Yes.
yes,
Yeah.
Danielle, thank you. Yeah, it's the phoenix. And I think it's this beautiful uprising of who you are. Yeah, I had a client tell me this once. She said, you know, with the pictures that we took, when I look back at those pictures, like in my darkest moments, I have that picture on my computer, because that was when I was at my strongest.
Yes. I have
Just
chills both legs right now from that. And it's so true. I actually did something really big for myself last year for my birthday. I had a photo shoot, and I framed the picture, my favorite one. I'm playful and I have sunglasses on, and I have this huge tulle dress on. It's like 20 feet long. And I went and blew it up and got it framed. And it's on my dresser in my bedroom. And it seems so vain if you don't know me, but it's to remind myself that I am her, and I can be playful, and I can have the joy in my life and the story of my life be here now. And so, yeah, it just means, like, I'm going to be emotional if I keep talking about it, so I'm not going to. But I just want to mention too, because I don't think that we gave a lot of information about the master classes. Influence through your story is the actual master class that we're here talking to Amber about. And this class is a culmination of how you can pivot your pain into your purpose, and really the trauma into triumph, and have her help you really understand who you are becoming. Throughout that story, there's just such beauty in recognizing and witnessing your own life. And to be able to unfold that with someone so beautiful. And you know, her heart, Amber, I just can't say enough about you. Like, your heart is so pure. Every time I've spoken to you, I feel that I can tell you anything and it's all okay, because you've either been through it, know someone who has, but you're not judgmental. And so that gift alone of why you're doing this and your purpose, you are called into the right thing, because you're just such a safe, beautiful place to spend time, and to be able to share that story and let it unfold. So I really appreciate working with you in so many different times, through photo shoots and through storytelling in that manner. And what should people, if they want to do this and they want to jump in and learn how to tell their story, what should they do next?
Yeah, so I have a masterclass coming up really soon. And the timing of this was crazy, because I know you just finished a launch, but it's Tuesday from 12 to 4. And Shannon, I think you'll attach the link.
I will. Yeah.
Yeah. So Shannon will attach the link, but I would love to have anyone there who shares their story and wants to just get more clarity, or wants to look for other stories to share, you know, because sometimes we're multifaceted people. So we have different stories, we have different things, but being able to craft that with power and being able to speak in that power and speak with our voice. We have been given a voice because our voice is made to be heard by certain people. Like, we have certain people that's assigned to us to be heard. And so I want to encourage people to share their story. Never would I encourage someone to share something they're not comfortable with, but that's another reason why this masterclass is here, because I want people to know that you don't have to share things you're not uncomfortable with, and it can still be powerful, and you can still stand in that power.
It is so true. I do have a link, and we're going to pop it in but we'll also reach out to anybody who's interested. We're going to be showing this, and we're actually live on YouTube right now. So we're going to be popping the link in there for anyone who's following along. We're going to be sharing it on our social media to help Amber and to help you. I mean, like, that's really what we're here to do, is we want you to understand the value of who you are, and that you are important and you belong at this table of beautiful humans in the world. And you really think about the ripple effect that Amber's talking about, because you don't know who needs to hear your story. And we all have so many souls to touch, or we wouldn't be here. Like, that's what is so incredibly beautiful about this. And yeah, I feel so compelled. So Tuesday, the 25th, and what time did it start, Amber?
It's 12 to 4.
12
So it's a 4-hour masterclass. Yeah.
Okay. And then, of course, Amber's heart is so gigantic that she has been a part of Boundless Foundation since I started it. She's always been right there, been our champion and cheerleader. And so she has offered to give 100% of the proceeds of the ticket sales for the webinar. It's $47. And so you can basically just click the link, pay the $47. It goes straight to Boundless Foundation to build schools and help children learn to dream. I can't picture a more synchronicity in the way that we're doing business together, and the way that we are just sharing the stories of the children with Boundless. And you've been sharing my story, I'm sharing your story. It's all about the beauty of life and what our story is to each other. So,
well, and it's about two linking arms. You know, I heard you say on one of your social media lives or something, you said, I'm going to change the world, or something like that.
yeah.
And it's so true. But we have the power to do that by opening our mouth. We have the power to change the world, and we can do it by affecting one person at a time or 100 people at a time. But you never know until you open your mouth and start to share. So it's.
Yeah. And what came up for me just now was identity. I just really got this pulse of like identity. When we share our story, we are actually pulling in our new identity. And that is where the authenticity comes from. That really, it aligns us, and it shows us the proof that we are who we say we are. And that projection out into the world is what people respond to. The magnetism of you knowing that you're solid, that you are good, and that you do have a story and you do have trauma, but that your new identity is this person who can share, who can put their life out there and involve others in telling their story too, and linking arms, as you say, Amber. Yeah, we are changing the world right now in this very moment. We are changing the world, and we're starting that ripple. So I'm so glad for those of you who are here and who are not. We're going to watch the replay. And so we'll see you on Tuesday, the 25th. This is just, okay. So influence through your story. You're going to learn, find purpose and meaning through your story, determine the stories to share, refine them. That's what I love about that, is to refine that story to be powerful and impactful. How to share your influence, how to share with influence. So if you're looking to have your purpose known, to bring awareness to health or mental health or anything that's in your heart, this is that opportunity to really bring it to light and to share it with so many people. Aligning your passion with that purpose and discovering and amplifying your voice around that passion. Amplify, another beautiful word. Amplifying your voice, being heard, using that wind, that throat chakra, bringing it out, and getting clear on what you want in the next chapter of your life with your story, and crafting it with intention. So that's what you're going to learn. Amber is your host. She has a co-host with her that's dynamic and energetic. And so I'll see you there.
I'm excited, Shannon. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me. And I truly believe that through all of this, we can make a difference. We will make a difference.
Yeah,
we can, we will, we must.
Yeah, and that's our story.
Yeah.
That's the story that we're writing.
That's exactly right.
Is there anything else you'd like to say, Amber, before we go?
No, just thank you so much for having me. And for those who just joined, I appreciate you so much. And, you know, together we're going to make a difference.
That's right. That's right. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you.
Thank you.
I've been on my own for a minute. Is it only me out there? Searching for the place to begin it. Is it me? Is it you? Is it fear? Standing on the line I was given. People stare and ask me why I'm here. No one seems to think that I fit in, but I don't wanna be like them. No, 'cause I don't wanna be like them. 'Cause I know that I had a dream that someday I would just fly away. And I always knew